it's Jennifer from Flux. Welcome back to week 2 of our 2021 holiday crochet along. We are working on this beautiful folk art snowflake pillow. Now last week we talked about kind of the intro to the project and the supplies needed. So this week we're going to learn how to crochet these panels. We're going to make 2 of them. They're very simple single crochet stitches. We're going to make one for the back and one for the front and just focus on that this week. Now, next week for week 3, we're going to learn how to embroider on the front of it. If you want to do that, you can leave your pillow plain if you like. And then week 4, the following week, we're going to learn how to seam our pillow. And I chose a contrasting seam, so it kind of looks like piping. And we're going to stuff our pillow and make these beautiful pom-poms. And then the last week of our crochet along, we're going to kind of do a recap, and I'm going to put all the parts on one post so you can refer to it again and again if you need to. So let's jump right into our crocheting of our panels. And if you haven't joined our Ravelry group and our Facebook group, be sure and hop on over there. The links are down below and you can join and connect with other makers who are working on the project as well. Okay, because we're using a white yarn and I have a white tabletop here, I threw down a little piece of festive fabric. So our work surface today is very festive. Okay, so to begin our panels, we're going to make 2 square panels, and then later we're going to seam them and everything and embroider on them and all of that, but we're going to start with our panels. We're going to make 2 of them, okay? So you can change, there's no special stitch count or multiple, so I'm going to start with 20 chains, but you can make yours however wide or small. If you want a long pillow, like almost like a long rectangular pillow, you can do that. You could do a square one like me. You can make it a giant oversized pillow. It's really up to you and how you want your pillow to be. But I'm going to do 20 chains if you'd like to replicate the one that I have. So what we're going to do is put a slip knot on our hook, and I'm going to zoom way in so you can see what I'm doing here. There we go. Okay, so wrap the yarn around your fingers to make a loop, bring the yarn behind the loop, reach in with your hook, bring up a loop and tighten. And like I mentioned before, we're going to do 20 chains. So to make a chain, wrap the yarn around the hook and bring it through the loop. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. So then at this point, if 2 things, if your chain is too tight, try going up a hook size to loosen up your chain a little bit. I do get that question quite a bit. That's why I always try to mention it. If your chain is fine, don't worry about it. Also, this chain that we just made, this starting chain, this is going to be about the width of your pillow. And we're going to work rows until the width and the height are the same. So if you're doing a square pillow like me, just make sure that you're okay with the length of chain. You can always add and subtract some chains. Again, there's no special stitch count. If you are embroidering onto your pillow, you want it to be about the same, give or take, okay? So what we're going to do next is we're going to work a single crochet in the second chain from the hook. So this loop here does not count. We're going to go 1, 2 in that chain there and work a single crochet. So insert the hook into that second chain from the hook, bring up a loop. Now wrap yarn around hook and bring it through both loops. Then what we're going to do is work a single crochet in each chain across. So our panels are going to be super, super easy. And one of the reasons why we're making them so easy is so that it will give us a good surface in which we will be embroidering our snowflake onto. So insert the hook into the next chain, bring up a loop, yarn around hook, bring it through both loops, work a single crochet in the next chain, and we're going to just do this in every chain across. I'm going to get a little bit more yarn. I wanted to mention that I got lucky and I found the end of my yarn ball. That doesn't always happen. Sometimes I'm not as successful with that, but it does keep it nice and neat if you do that. Okay, so let's get back to this. Work a single crochet into the next chain, and we're just going to do this all the way across. Okay, so we're going to get a nice, simple panel so we can work our little image onto that next. Okay, so just single crochet, and I gotta say this yarn, this pretty cream color yarn and this festive background is making me feel super holiday-ish right now with all this fun stuff we're doing. Okay, so you're just continuing across, and then we're at the very last chain. Just work your single crochet in that. We are not going to worry about these ends because when we go to seam, we can just tuck them in, so you don't even have to worry about them. Okay, so here is row 1, nice and simple. For row 2, we're going to chain 1 and turn, again, not worrying about this tail. And then in this very first stitch, right down at the bottom there, see that? If you turn it, you can see a V at the top. That very first stitch of our row, we're going to work a single crochet into that, and a single crochet in the next stitch, and every stitch across. Okay, so just continue to work your single crochets. And this row, row 2, is the row we'll be repeating for the rest of our panel. And you'll make the second panel the same exact way because we want 2 panels. So just work your single crochets all the way across. I'm going to get a little bit more yarn from my yarn ball here. Just like that. Again, single crochet in each stitch across. We're like cruising through this yarn pretty quick. Okay, so just work all the way across. We're getting towards the end here. And because we're using such a big hook and thick yarn, this project is a pretty quick one. And it'll be really pretty. You could put one on either end of your sofa or just one accent pillow, whatever you like. Okay, and now we're at the end, and you might have to kind of pick it up a little bit, but then that turning chain space there at the end of the row, work a single crochet into that as well, okay? So row 2 is complete, and you should have just a nice simple little strip so far. So what we're going to do next is keep repeating row 2 over and over and over again until your piece is as tall as it is wide. Now, you can use your tape measure to measure across and up as you go along. The other thing you can do, is a really simple thing, is take the right upper corner and fold it down to the lower left corner. And if it makes a perfect triangle with no overhang on either side, then you'll know it's the width and the height are the same. So just if you can't find your tape measure for some reason, you could also just quickly do that and see. So keep repeating row 2 over and over and over, and we're going to rejoin in just a moment and finish up our panel, and we're also going to make our second panel. So we have 2 to sandwich together to make our pillow. So keep repeating row 2 and we'll rejoin in just a minute. Just coming up to the end of our little square here with our single crochets. And our square is complete. So I went ahead and made the second square as well, but like I mentioned before, we're going to do the same width and height because we want a square pillow. If you don't want a square pillow, that's fine, but just know if you want a square pillow, you want to make sure the height and the width are the same. And just to, as you're moving along and working on your rows, what you can do is, I mentioned this before, you can flip up the corner and match it to the other corner to make a triangle. And if there's no overhang, like you see here, then you know that it's a square, okay? So what we need to do now is fasten off. Now, I just wanted to show you here, this is the yarn that I had left for the 2 squares. So I used almost exactly 1 ball of this cream color yarn. So I was really coming up to the end here and wondering if I was going to make it, but I made it. There's just a little bit left. Now, if you get yourself into a little bit of a pickle and you run out of yarn, you could take out one row of each square if you absolutely had to, if you had a little less yarn than I did. And it wouldn't be perfectly square, but it would be square enough to your eye visually where it would look okay. So if you get into a little bit of a pinch, you could sort of just take out a row of this one, but also make sure you take out a row of the other square too. But I just wanted to show you, I came up right up against it, and this was all I had left. So what we're going to do now is we're going to fasten off. So I'm going to go ahead, and even though I don't have much yarn here, I'm still going to cut it so I have a manageable tail. And we're going to fasten off, wrap the yarn around the hook, and bring it through. And if you notice, we have 2 tails per square here. We are going to just take care of those later. Actually, we're not going to take care of those. When we seam, we'll just tuck them into our pillow, and they'll just be gone. It'll be no big deal. We don't even have to weave in the ends for this. So once you have 2 squares, you'll be finished with this part of the tutorial. And next week, we're going to work on the beautiful snowflake embroidery part. So now that our pillow panels are complete, our 2 panels, we're going to move on next week to learn how to embroider a design onto our pillow. So I will see you next week. And if you haven't joined the Ravelry group and the Facebook group, be sure and hop on over there. The links are down below, and you can connect with all the other makers making these projects as well. So next week, we're going to embroider this beautiful design, and I'm also going to show you if you want to kind of depart and work on your own design as well. Thanks so much for watching, and be sure and click the subscribe button to get all the latest Fiber Flux video updates. Thanks again.